This is chapters 121 to 125 of 14 Ways to Die. 121. Where are we going? Danny asks, not caring that his voice is going out live. He looks worried, but he should be glad. He used to moan at me for doing this on my own, for not filming the important parts. Now we're a team, and he's still complaining. His office, I say, running ahead and not caring how blurry this looks. I don't have time to explain everything to my subscribers or my director. English lasts an hour, then Mr. Collins is free. I don't know if he'll run or try to find me, and I'm not sure what's worse. I stop at the bottom of the steps that lead to the teacher's lounge and the teacher's offices. If we get caught, they won't believe me, but what choice do I have? As I walk upstairs, Danny touches my shoulder and says, Jess, this isn't a good idea. It's the only idea. He put the clippings in my bag. He saved them all these years, and he's been taunting me. Who does that? Danny stares at me with his mouth open, and I imagine the sound of thousands of gasps as my viewers catch up. Be careful, he says. You know what happened. This is different, I say, cutting him off before he mentions Michael. He looks shocked, but doesn't say anything else, just follows me upstairs and focuses the camera as I look around the corner, checking that the coast is clear. The teacher's lounge is at the far end of the hallway, but the door is open, and if anyone sees me, it's over. Come on, I whisper, and I'm not only talking to Danny. I'm speaking to everyone watching. I look through the door to Mr. Collins' office, and it's empty, the desk free of laptops, the signs all good. I push the handle and it opens because teachers trust other teachers, but I need to be quick. If any of them are watching me online, they can see exactly what I'm doing. When Danny has followed me inside, I close the door and go straight to Mr. Collins' desk, searching the drawers for anything suspicious. There's a filing cabinet in the corner, but it won't open, the metal clanging against the wall as I pull. I turn to Danny and wonder if this is what he means about going too far, but he's still filming me. That's when I see Mr. Collins' ugly green coat hanging behind the door, and when I search his pockets, I find keys and a car fob. Danny shakes his head, then reaches into his own pocket and stares at his phone. He holds it out to me, and when I step closer, I see it's from Adrian. Just 2 words. Let her. He's watching this. They all are. This is the excitement they wanted when they signed me up. I smile, jangle the keys in front of Danny, then creep back into the hallway. The voices come quickly, loud and close by, and I shove him back inside, duck below the window, and slowly push the door until it clicks shut. Danny and I are side by side, the camera turned away from me, and he adjusts it until I'm back on screen. There's the slightest shake in his hand as I realize how scared he is, but he's still doing his job. The voices are above us, then past us, fading down the hallway and away. I stand up, open the door, and listen. Okay, I whisper, let's go. I run to my right and down the stairs, and only then do I look to see Danny 3 steps behind. When we're back in the main hallway, I think about hugging him because we did it. I thought of a plan and it actually worked, but it's not over yet. Are you sure about this? Danny asks, and I grip Mr. Collins' keys. Absolutely. 122. His car is big and silver, with room for a family I can't imagine him having. When we get close, I press the fob, and the car beeps and unlocks, and it's as easy as that. Stay here, I tell Danny. I don't want him getting in trouble for this. I open the passenger side door and pull everything out of the glove box. I don't know what I'm looking for, but if Mr. Collins is the Magpie Man, I'll find proof. Jess, Danny says, and when I turn, there's a crowd gathering, students with a free period, who look from me to their phones and back again. There's no escaping what I'm doing. It's everywhere, and Mrs. Bradley will kick me out if I'm wrong. That's why I have to be right. No one says anything. They watch me like I'm not real, so I continue like they're not real either. There's nothing under the seats except empty coffee cups and scrunched up parking tickets, so I open the trunk and push past the junk until I find a laptop bag. It's light but not empty, and when I unzip it, I see her face over and over again, reprinted on countless newspaper reports. I see my mother and the horrible headlines my dad did his best to hide from me. That's when I turn to Danny with tears in my eyes and say, call the police. Then I hold the articles up to the camera and say, I have proof. 123. It's the secretary who comes up first, asking me what I'm doing in the parking lot, but I don't reply. I sit holding the articles, waiting for the police to take him away. When the period ends, the crowd grows until kids from every grade are there. A single beep over the loudspeaker tells me the teachers are coming. They're not so secret code that shit is going down. It usually means a fight or trouble at the front entrance, but this time it's me, sitting next to Mr. Collins' open car while Danny films every moment. When the police car arrives, it slowly pushes its way through the crowd until Lorraine steps out, crouches next to me, and asks if I'm okay. I nod but don't say anything, just hand her the articles, and she passes them to another officer wearing gloves, and I wonder if I'll ever see them again. This isn't enough evidence to arrest him, she says, and I point at the rope in the trunk and the shoes caked in dirt. You should check those for DNA, I say. Her face says it's still not enough, so I ask, when was the last murder? Lorraine shakes her head, and as she checks her phone, I say, it was Tuesday, April 7th. Ask Mr. Collins where he was that day. The pieces didn't fall into place right away, but between breaking into his car and Lorraine arriving, I remembered something important. The day Lorna Banks was killed, Mr. Collins wasn't here. He was at the educator conference in London. On their own, the pieces don't add up to much, but together they paint a picture. He was here all along. The Magpie Man was the one giving me the articles. He was taunting me, and I shudder at the thought. The crowd starts murmuring, and when I look up, I see him walking towards us. If he wanted to run, it's too late. Jessica, he says, but before he can get to me, Lorraine and his partner block him off and say they have a few questions. Danny is creeping closer, zooming in on Mr. Collins' face as it turns from anger to fear to something else. They don't put him in handcuffs. The crowd doesn't cheer as they drive him away. There's only a strange kind of silence, full of unspoken thoughts. When the police leave, Danny turns the camera back to me, and I guess this is where I say something important. But all I can do is close my eyes and think of Mom, because whatever I say won't be enough. 124. No one tells me off for breaking into Mr. Collins' office. No one blames me for what happened. I've turned their world on its head, and they don't know how to deal with that yet. Holy fuck, Emily says when she finds me in the reception area. I'm waiting to be picked up, but I haven't phoned Dad yet. I don't know what to tell him. The secretary tried, but he didn't answer, so I guess he wasn't watching. Emily sits down and gives me a hug that I don't want, but I let her do what she has to, then smile and hope it looks genuine. Justice is supposed to feel better than this, but until he's charged, until I know he won't come back, everything feels worse than before. Danny sits across from me, filming Emily say, I can't believe it's him. I wonder if she feels guilty for blaming Mr. Humphreys, but how was she to know? If everyone has their theories, and she was only trying to help. We sit in silence until 3 o'clock. I never did call my dad. Instead, I get the bus home, ignoring the stares and the whispers, and go straight to my room. In the end, he comes to me when Danny has left, knocking gently on my door and sitting on the edge of my bed when I don't answer. Do you want to talk? He asks. I shake my head, and he touches my foot and says, I'm here when you do. I wasn't scared, I say. I thought I would be, but when I looked at him, when I saw who he really was, he wasn't, anything to fear. Dad sighs. It's going to get harder before it gets easier. If it is him, there'll be a trial. Do you think it's him? I hope it is, he says. You've been through enough. So have you, I say. He squeezes my hand tighter than ever. 125. The police haven't spoken to me yet. Lorraine said they will eventually, but I guess I've given them all they need. Hannah and Emily wanted to come over, but I told them I need to be alone. It's easier when I don't have to pretend, when I can stare at Mom's pictures and imagine what she's thinking, when Dad and I can sit in our shared silence. That night when my phone rings, I'm not expecting it. Have you heard? Hannah says. Go online. The link is everywhere, shared and shared and shared again. The same horrible image stares back at me, no matter where I look. A body marked with the 15 and below it the word dead carved into its stomach. She wasn't local. A report says she was murdered in Sheffield. By putting dead below the number, he was sending me a message. He was sending it to every single one of the left behind who wore that t-shirt. We did catch him, but not before he killed again.